Hey everyone, let's look at this second part of the macroeconomics class project. We will be testing the Phillips curve relationship, that means the inverse relation between inflation rate and unemployment rate. We know that as money supply increases, the interest rate as denoted by small I goes down and investment denoted by big I goes up, which increases aggregate demand, real GDP, and decreases unemployment rate and increases inflation rate. Now, I have stated the Fed's economic policy goals. Those are a stable inflation rate of 2% and a natural rate of unemployment of 4%. Now, to begin this discussion, we should look at the history of the Phillips curve. So we have William Phillips, a New Zealand economist working on the United Kingdom economy, and found out some sort of inverse relation between inflation rate and unemployment rate. I have the data from the tradingeconomics.com, but I don't have the data before 1960s. Now, we have the United States response. We have some other economists, as for example, Friedman and Phelps looked at the US economy from 1967 and 1968, and their conclusion was the Phillips curve relation was applicable only in the short run, but in the long run, there can be inflation rate, but unemployment rate will not go down. So as evident from the vertical long run Phillips curve. So this is the long run Phillips curve. According to them, this is the natural rate of unemployment. This is going to stay the same even though inflation rate can go up or down, unlike the short run Phillips curve, which shows an inverse relation between inflation rate and the unemployment rate. Now, after looking at the US response, your task will be to look at the role of the central bank of the country you will pick up for your class project. And you want to state what are the monetary policy goals of the central bank of the country you chose. Next, you look at a modern view of the Phillips curve. You look at the long run Phillips curve. So most of the central banks uses monetary policy. If you are looking at an economy that doesn't use a monetary policy, you can just say so, and you are going to look at the data and you are going to analyze based on your data. And then in the conclusion, you have to answer these following questions. Is there a short run trade-off between inflation rate and unemployment rate in your data? So here you have to look at the time period. Please state the time period. The second question is, does aggregate supply shocks cause both inflation rate and unemployment rate to be higher? That means aggregate supply shocks means this can happen due to external factors. This can happen due to increase in input prices, both domestically and international inputs. And this will shape the aggregate supply curve to the right and lead to higher inflation rate and unemployment rate. If you can find this in your economy of choice, you can just mention in this class project. Now you look at longer periods of data and try to see if you see any kind of relation between inflation rate and unemployment rate. Namely, what is expected is the unemployment rate would stay the same and inflation rate can fluctuate. Let me go over and show you something here. I was looking at the US economy. I find some sort of inverse relation over this period when the inflation rate is going up and unemployment rate is going down. Now, I was trying to look in the 1970s, and over here in this section, I found both inflation rate and unemployment rate are going up. So basically, there are some kind of external shocks to the economy in the 1970s. We had the oil price embargo that really shifted the aggregate supply curve to the right and increased both inflation and unemployment rate. Now I am trying to see if inflation rate increases, unemployment rate staying the same. This should be kind of over here, but I don't see a more pronounced relationship. All right. So just to let you know, when you are answering the questions, you have to really tell me which time period you see your data. All right. That's all for now. Thank you very much.